Starts off with a quick opening statement. Please raise your hands for questions. Coach?
All right, good afternoon. Yeah, good to be back. After a bye week, obviously last week was good for us in getting healthy, resting. I think more than anything, the rest, obviously physically, but also mentally, really helps. You know, we gave our guys off Friday and Saturday of last week, told them to get away. Have a renewed spirit when you get back here on Sunday, and that's what happened. I mean, we had a good practice on Sunday, and now we're ready to go out here today with a good practice. It was also good health-wise. I mean, if we're able to get some guys that were dinged up, get them back. They felt good Sunday as well. So, for this time of the year, I think we're sitting in pretty good shape, as far as staying healthy. So, obviously excited this week, West Virginia. We're playing back at Nippert, man. We're excited about that. Got a sellout game. It'll be a hostile crowd, great environment for us. So obviously our players and staff is excited about that, to get back here and playing in front of our home crowd. And, against a West Virginia team that I think is a very, very solid team. They've lost 4 games against 4 really good football teams. And, and I think they're coming off a big win at Arizona. We know how hard it is to travel out west, and they went out there and handled business. So we know we'll get their best shot when they come in here. I've faced Coach Brown many times at Troy, and obviously last year, got a lot of respect for him, how he runs his program. And, so yeah, we know we're excited about it. We played arguably our worst game last year at West Virginia. I mean, it was awful. You go back, and I hate watching that film from this week, from last year. So an opportunity to go back and hopefully go out and play a much better football game this week. So we're excited about that.
Chapman Scott.
Do you sit down on Saturday night and watch this conference and just shake your head at how insanely close, I guess, everything is?
Very close. We have, it's parity in college football, but I think we have the most parity in Power 4 football across the country. And, no matter what the spreads are, I mean, you go look at the games, I feel like there are battles each and every week. And, yeah, I watched those games. I was flipping back and forth. And, Central Florida, woke up offensively, scored a ton of points again. And, the other games were very close. Houston, big win. Texas Tech with a big win. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I think obviously the fans of Big 12 football, man, you're going to get to watch a great game whenever you go out and play and watch the Big 12 and the matchups. I mean, there's good coaches, there's good players. It's good football, and but it makes it hard. It makes it hard for us each and every week to go out here and battle and try to get wins. So that makes it difficult. There's not any easy games, I can tell you that.
Is it a monkey wrench to prepare for the lefty quarterback, and then also if you can update Luke Kandra and any offensive line things going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think offensive line wise, we feel like we're in pretty good shape. We'll know more on Kandra as we get out there today, tomorrow. But I feel like we're trending in the right direction with him, as well as Gerhardt, who was dinged a little bit, but he's back. He was back Sunday. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like we're back to about full strength across the board, and which would be helpful. And as far as talking about their quarterbacks, I mean, I think they're both really good. One's right hand, one's left hand. I don't think that really matters, other than maybe a couple plays throughout a game. But I think they're both really good football players. We'll see who we're going to play. I mean, we anticipate playing the quarterback that played last week. So. Obviously we've had this happen before throughout the season with different quarterbacks that have had to play, but I still feel like, they're going to run what they run on offense. And, we got to be great stopping the run this week. We know that they have some outstanding running backs. Our offensive line is really good. And Neil does a great job running the football, and obviously they'll throw it, but I think the main thing is to stop the run when you're playing the West Virginia football team.
You mentioned the UCF game was kind of a turning point. Looking at this weekend and then going down and looking at the rest of your schedule, how tough it gets, are you kind of looking at this game in kind of a similar vein?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've done a good job this year of really taking each game in itself, creating that's a season in itself or one game. And, our guys have done a good job of that, and we have to do it especially as you move forward. You certainly can't look ahead with anything in this business. I mean, it's one day at a time, not even really 1 week, it's one day. So how good can we be today? Because, it just becomes overwhelming, I think, when you start looking at the total, when you start looking at all the games we have left and where we have to go and all those type things, that's just becomes too much. So staying in the moment to be the best we can be on Tuesday. And I think you do that every single day, just rinse and repeat every single day. And then the game days will take care of themselves. And that's really what we're focusing on.
Has the marketing department considered the Nip at Noon campaign?
You know what? I don't really talk to our marketing department a whole lot, so I don't know. I don't know what they got going on. But ironically, we were playing a bunch of new games here. I mean, I don't have anything to do with it. So, although we've played well at noon, our guys like it. I think, you get up and you roll your necks out and you go out and play a football game. So I'm excited about it. I've said that before. You go out and play well, then you got the rest of the afternoon to watch some ball. So, it is what it is. We know TV dictates all these times, and now the next game we're playing at 7 or 8. We just announced yesterday, so that would be another night game. So, we're just whatever time they say play ball, hopefully we're ready to play.
You're at 5 wins. Is it important to get bowl eligibility, like that monkey off your back, so that pressure doesn't mount because obviously Kansas State and Iowa State on the road are going to be tough, and then close with TCU.
Yeah, I think anytime you can certainly reach that milestone in a season, that's great. That's what we all want. All of us want to be able to play postseason. We want to be able to go somewhere. We want to be able to practice with our guys another 15 practices. You're with your team. There's a lot of things that happen at the end of the season when you go bowling. There are more fun things that happen, so certainly we want to be able to do that. I think more than anything for our guys is the fact that you go win this game, you're sitting there at 4-2. You're still in the race in the Big 12. There's a lot of football left in the last month. We just saw what happened this past weekend. There's a lot of those games. Every team has at least one loss other than BYU. So there's still a lot of ball left to be played in this league. And so I think more than anything, it's just, you go out and handle your business now. You're just one more notch closer to potentially playing the Big 12 championship. We're still not out of it yet. But again, we're still focusing on one day at a time and certainly trying to go take care of business.
You faced a lot of good running backs. Tyler Brooks got his, but he got his on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Harvey, Scatterboo, you did a decent job on. Where does Jaheim White rate in that? Because he got plenty last year.
Man, yeah, he did. Yeah, they're still running from last year right now. We did not slow him down at all. He's an outstanding running back. He's got great speed. Their other back, I think it's Donaldson. He's a big back that runs a little bit different, but also still very talented. Again, it starts up front. Those guys create some nice holes, and then those backs they know how to hit the holes. And so it's a great challenge for our defense to be able to come up and try to stop the run and try to slow it down a little bit. I feel like they're one of the top rushing teams in the country, rushing over 200 yards a game. And I think their offense starts right there. If they get that running game going, then it's going to be a long day for you. So we have to do a great job of getting a lot of hats to the ball, swarming the ball, playing at 100 miles an hour on defense, and really playing fast because, if your first guy misses, then the next guy, if you're playing fast, the next guy's going to be right there. And so, that's the way we have to practice that way this week and have to have that mindset when we go into the game this week.
Was there anything you saw from the film study from Brennan specifically that he could have done different against Colorado? And how did you kind of see him respond after a struggle of a game trying to move forward?
Yeah, first of all, I give Colorado credit. They got some really good DBs and they covered our guys. I think there was probably, we go back and looked at it, there was 3 or 4 routes that we ran where, if he throws it to this particular individual, then it's going to be a completion. And I'd like to have some of those back. And I think every game there's always a few. In that particular game, probably a little bit more because of how good a defense they were playing. You go back and look at it though, but there were 3 or 4 times where we had guys open, we just got to throw and catch. But I think, he came back and had a good practice last week. I thought he was solid with everything that he did. Sunday was really good. The good news is we got another game, so we go back out this week and hopefully get better at throwing the football and throwing and catching and, being more efficient in that regard.
You look down at West Virginia there on paper, obviously their wide receiver room, very diverse, can split the ball out wide with a bunch of others getting involved there. You look at the tight end room though, Cole Taylor, a guy who's 6'8", 255. What stands out about his game that you guys see on tape so far?
Yeah, just extremely long. I think it's one thing, you can be in position, but yet if you don't have the length and the reach to be able to get to him, that he can make some plays. And I think that's what they want to do. They do some things with a lot of shifts and motions and trying to manipulate the defense and getting them out of position And now they find those ways to run the football, but then all of a sudden you load up to stop the run. Well, now they got some guys out here that can make plays as well, including the tight ends that you mentioned. So they just try to keep the pressure on you in a lot of different aspects and make you be fundamentally sound. And that's where we have to be. We have to line up right. We have to run through the football, be where we're supposed to be. The games we played really, really good on defense. We've cut down all our mental mistakes, and we've ran through the football. And I think obviously this is no different when you're playing a team like this, to be able to shut down the run, but also be able to defend that pass.
They won a game in Arizona, then had a lot of weird stuff going on, including switching defensive coordinators. Do you expect anything different? Any expectations out of the new guy?
No, I mean, I think the structure will be the same. You know, it's really hard to go in the middle of a season and just change a lot. And I think, you know, anytime you're making a change like that, just over a period of time, you're going to try to make the guys feel comfortable about whatever you're trying to do, and that's really for them not to make mistakes. And so I think what it does, it makes you, if anything, simplify a little bit more. Now, what could be different is, you know, when you're looking at third down pressures and red zone, those type things could structurally be a little bit different depending on who's calling it. But I think just the structure of the defense, just getting the guys lined up, have them being where they're supposed to be, is the best thing that you can do to help your kids out. And so I would anticipate that. So I don't think there'll be a whole lot of change in what they're doing.
I think you'd agree last year they kind of physically overwhelmed you. Is that something you show the team to kind of challenge them and say, look, this is a team that they're going to look at the tape and say, hey, we can push these guys around, like we have to respond to it?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that went wrong for us last week. Last year against West Virginia. Just toward the end of the season, you know, we're not playing great, obviously, and we go 3 and out, then they go score. We go 3 and out, then they go score. I mean, it was just a snowball in the first half, and you look up, and man, you're down 28-7 before you can even blink, and we didn't do hardly anything right. And I think certainly as we go back and you watch the film of this week, you know, we're looking on the defensive side. It's a different defense for us. We're not the same. But now offensively we can look at it, obviously, and look and see the things that we did not do well. So it was a bad taste in our mouths for sure. And I think for the guys that did play last year, they understand that feeling. Now we got a lot of guys that were not here as well. So what we try to do is learn off of what the things we did not do well last year against them, and then obviously try to correct that and as we move forward. I mean, it's a different game plan this year, obviously, because that one didn't work. So we got to move forward with a different one. And hopefully, but our guys are in a different state of mind, how we prepare, all the things. It's different, you know, when you look at year to year.
You glad to have Jared Bartlett on your side now?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's hadn't really talked a lot about it, but with Jared, I mean, he's such a serious-minded individual, really just focused on his what he has to do in his task. But I mean, I'm sure inside for him, it's, you know, a little something extra probably anytime you're going to play. You know, he knows a lot of those guys over there, but he's not the type to be, you know, that kind of guy. I mean, he just wants to play ball and do the best he can. But yeah, we're excited that he's on our team and he's had a great year for us, and he's been a really good leader for us. And you know, he just needs to keep playing like he's been playing and go out and be himself.
Joe Warrior had a pretty impressive stiff arm on Travis Hunter. What's it kind of been like to see his combination of the physicality and receiving ability, and were you guys surprised that play wasn't the first down after?
Yeah, I was. Absolutely, I was surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised about a lot of things that happen in the course of a game with some of the stuff that goes on. So, but yeah, I mean, it's he's had a really good year, but I think Joe can get better and better and better. Now, one thing he has is exceptional hands. He has some of the best hands in the country. He is a great target for our quarterbacks to be able to throw to, and we feel like if we're throwing to him, we got a great chance of completing it. But what he has shown too over the course of this season is the ability to, after the catch, to make people miss, to run through people. He even hurdled a guy out here one game. You know, stiff arm. You talked about that particular play, stiff arm that player, and so he's a tough guy to tackle. And I think he can get better at that also. But he's still learning. He's learning how to run routes. He's, you know, making them crisp. Still working on his blocking. So there's a lot of part of his game that I think can get better and better. Now, I still think he's one of the better tight ends in the country, but I do think he can get a lot better. And I think that's the awesome part about it. And I think for him, just to keep going out and working hard to continue to get better and better, you know, the sky's the limit with the way he can play.
The point production in the second half offensively has kind of been continuing theme throughout the season. I know some of it is circumstantial. You're playing with the lead, or they're low possessions. I think there was only 3 possessions against Colorado in the second half. Is there anything you can do to kind of ramp up that mentality in the second half of being able to go get some points and extend leads, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, you'd love to be able to do that. As we're watching Kansas State against West Virginia, it was a kind of a tight ball game. Then in the fourth quarter, they scored about 2 or 3 touchdowns and really extended it. It made it the score looked a lot worse than the game actually was. But you're right. I mean, some of these games we've had, the score, we were winning. Let's get the clock, melt the clock, and keep the ball. And Arizona State, I think we had a 15-play drive. Ate up a lot of clock, but didn't score. Obviously love to finish it. I think for us, it's really just about finishing those drives in the second half. I like what we're doing. When we do have the lead, to being able to occupy the clock, keep their offense off the field. We just have to finish the drives, and I think whatever that takes. We got to be better once we get down. Maybe you don't be. We're not as conservative. I think maybe because sometimes I tend to think when you get the lead, you're a little bit more conservative. And just maybe think I'll be a little bit more aggressive in those scenarios. But I think obviously the bottom line is just try to get the wins and ever what we can do to make that happen. But yeah, you'd love to be able to score some more at the end and where it's not a one possession game, because now anything can happen when that occurs.
Any other questions for Coach?
Nope.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,